All right, well, today is a big day. Most people probably wake up and go have surgery. I never went to bed because I work nights right now. So, my eyes are already really tired, but I told them that's how it would be, and that'll just make it easier to come home and take a nap, aka sleep a lot, which is actually really good for your recovery. So, people have been asking me if I'm nervous or excited. Neither right now. I think work has been so crazy lately that I've been able to focus on that and just try not to think about it so I don't freak myself out. So I'm just going to show up and not think about it for the next hour and wish me luck. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. Hot. Am I right? I'll take off my sunglasses for you right now. Your eyes are more sensitive to the light after LASIK, especially like while you're healing. So those are nice ones that fit over these. I did take pictures directly after. I think my eyes are already starting to look pretty good. This one only has a little bit. This one, obviously, we had some struggles, and we'll talk about that. These glasses are to be worn for the first 24 hours, and then at least during sleep for the next few days. Sorry, I'm just looking at myself. Whew. So that way you're not accidentally poking, wiping your eyes, rubbing them, anything like that. So how did it go? Would I recommend it? How does this happen? So after I took my Valium, I felt a whole lot of not difference. I really feel like it didn't do much for me. Maybe it took off the edge a little bit, but I was already kind of in a calm state of mind and really tired because I had just worked an 11-hour shift and didn't go to sleep the night before, which I think has its perk because it helped me be tired and calm, and I just, slept for like 8 hours, and that's good for healing and sleeping through the pain and all that. But I think it also made it worse. So I wouldn't recommend an all-nighter beforehand because I feel like my eyes are stinging a lot more, which made me want to blink a lot more, which made the pain worse. I don't know. I mean, I obviously can't compare it to someone who has fresh eyes after waking up, but I just think it made things worse. But in the end, it was tolerable. So after I got the Valium, it gets really bitter. You put it under your tongue. They give you a little candy to kind of chase down that nastiness. And then they take you into surgery. You lay down and they have 2 separate setups. So they put the one thing over you. I did not realize how anxious that would make me. I'm not really that claustrophobic, but if you are, LASIK is not for you. And I felt like I was pretty calm, but there was some anxiety. I do have some anxiety issues, but if you're like extremely anxious, I don't know if it's for you either. So the first one that they put over your eyes, because this is a bladeless LASIK. I know some places might still use blades. That to me is horrifying, but I don't think it's common nowadays. So the laser cuts the flap in your eye, and that is the absolute worst part. Absolute. And I was just like, oh dear goodness. I was laying there thinking, why do so many people praise this procedure? Why? And I was just like, in a month, I will probably be telling everyone, oh my gosh, it's so worth it. But being on that table, I was thinking, I would never recommend this to someone. But, I think in the long run, that whole like little bit of sacrifice now, a little bit of pain now for the payoff later. So, sorry, I'm having to stop every once in a while, put in eye drops. We'll talk about that afterwards. On the table, so they get really, really close to your face. Like, they get to the point, of course, they put numbing drops in, so you don't feel it, but you feel it. You feel the pressure, and you feel movement to some extent. But they put, at least the way it feels and the way it looked, like they put like a piece of glass just up against your face, kind of smush your eyeball, And then once they get it in the right place, they literally suction your eye. This eye worked like a champ the first time. This eye, I think this was the 4th try that they got it. We kept losing suction, which is why I have a hickey on my eye. That one hurts a lot more. It's gonna take longer to heal, clearly. You need good suction so that they get right alignment, and that's when the laser cuts open the flap. This one, gosh, I felt like they were just smashing my eyeball into my face. That one hurt. People that say it doesn't hurt, oh, it's just pressure, it's not pain. No, there was pain. I mean, not like I was like screaming and wailing, but I did not enjoy that. But it doesn't take that long once they get it lined up properly. I think there's just a lot of anxiety of like, hey, make sure you're staring at the light or staring straight. And I feel like, I know it sounds silly, but I feel like I could have practiced better on that. Because I'm like, well, if I'm supposed to stare straight at that light, but I feel like the light's moving, is my eye supposed to move with it? I'm confused. And, you know, at some points they're like, well, open both eyes, even though we're only working on one eye, because that'll help you to not squint. And then sometimes I feel like that made me also not focus as well. I don't know, just some things to kind of be prepared for. They do like tape your eyelashes back and then put in a little speculum so you can't blink. That was not as scary as I thought it would be, especially because you're numb and you just have to relax, and it doesn't take very long as you relax. So yeah, so that's cutting open the flap. When it's actually cutting it open, like your eye has gone black and it feels like you've got your eyelid closed, because that's how it looks and that's how it feels. Like I don't feel like I have this like dryness, like I need to blink. And you can actually kind of feel like a little bit of movement from the laser. So when that is done, then they're like, definitely don't move right now as they retract it, which I feel like, you know, for something this precise, like why were you not in a head vice or something to make you less likely to move? I feel like this should be a thing, but maybe that would scare people more. I don't know. They were good about talking me through and reminding me to breathe and, you know, kind of giving me a little coaching along the way. So once they did both of the flaps, and then they moved that part of the machine over and then brought over the other part of the machine. And that was when they actually do the Lasik part. So you are going to be staring at lights, which is a lot easier to know what light you're supposed to stare at. So in my case, it's a different kind of, I think, a newer machine. So it's a green light, and then there's red lights on the side. You're just supposed to look at that green light. And as you're staring at it, he peels the flap over, which you really don't feel, but it's interesting. Like you can see it, and then all of a sudden your vision goes much blurrier. You can still see the lights, so you're still looking at it. And then you hear as the laser is burning your eye. This is probably terrifying anyone who watches it, but I'm just, you know, I'm trying to be real about my experience. So that is what happens. You definitely, there are smells along the way. That is the worst part with the smells is, I mean, it's like burning flesh, but it didn't last long. Mine, like literally, it's probably like 5 seconds. It was pretty quick. And then they put your flap back over, and the unsettling at the end is just like, he's got like a squeegee and he's just like making sure the flap is all good. And you're just like, I have someone with a blunt object just poking my eyeball. This would not be okay on a normal day, but you know what? I just went through all this other stuff. This is the least of my worries. Like at that point, it really was the opening the flap that was a struggle for me. I think even if we hadn't had the 4-time struggle, it would not be my favorite part. But all in all, it really does only take like 10 to 20 minutes in there. It's really not bad in that way. I expected, because everyone's like, oh, you see great right away. And I'm getting up and I'm just like, everything is incredibly blurry. I don't know about this whole like I expected to start singing like, I can see clearly now, the rain is gone, or a whole new world. No musical started in my head. They just sent me over to a post-op room, put some eye drops in my eye, made sure I didn't have any questions, double checked that everything looked right, and kind of sent me on my way with instructions. So Aftercare, you have to be really vigilant about drops. Moisture is helping your eye heal, which is good. You're supposed to come home and take like 3 to 4 hour nap, because I hadn't slept at all. I took like an 8 or so hour nap. So you need to get a bunch of these vials. They said I think at least a 30 pack, and they're preservative free. That was the big point, is they need to be preservative free. So you just open this, and then it's good for 24 hours, but you can use it multiple times. I have a feeling I'll be buying more because I am horrible at actually getting in my eye. Like, I'll have like 5 smeared all over my face before I actually get one in the eye. You know, the struggle. So that's just, I think, kind of like a regular lubricating one. Nothing too special about that. And then there are 2 kinds of prescription drops that you have to pick up ahead of time. So this one is prednisolone acetate. This one is the anti-inflammatory, I believe. And it is supposed to go on 4 times a day, starting day of surgery. And it is horrible. It feels like every time you put the eye drop in, you're like smashing finely broken glass into your eye. Like, it stings like the dickens. But you know what? You're only doing it 4 times a day. And then there's another drop, which I don't actually start until tomorrow. And that is also 4 times a day for a week. And that is an antibiotic one, which they did give me one drop at the office, and it smelled weird, but I don't remember any pain. So I'm glad that it's just going to be one undesirable one. You wait 5 minutes in between, so you don't, you know, just put one in and then put another one in, and it washes it out, so it gives it some time to mull over. Right now, while I'm awake, I'm supposed to do this every 15 minutes. Moisture is healing. You're going to be drier than you think you are. So I have my phone with a timer set so that while I'm filming, while I'm going about doing things, I hear that, so I don't have to keep track. So that's just the details, the tips. So 9 hours later, do I feel like I can see great? I mean, I slept off most of the pain because there was pain. I took some ibuprofen and went straight to bed. Things are still a little blurry, but honestly, I feel like this is how I would see if I had glasses on, for the most part. Like, I can read things across the room, and I don't know, it's just kind of funny. Like, I expected it to be more dramatic, but that would have been like the instant result. Like, oh, everything's blurry. Everything's not. But you know, there was like a phase. So right now I'm looking at things and it looks normal, but the normal is me usually having my glasses on. I don't usually just walk around the house not being able to see things. So I did, getting out of bed, go to reach for my glasses because I'm like, I always have to find those suckers and put them on before I can get out of bed. Not the case anymore. So anyway, I know this is a lot of details. I hope it's helpful to someone. I would love if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any tips. I did have the person who referred me to this place for LASIK say that he got gel drops for his eyes, and that was incredibly helpful for dry eyes. I did ask them about it, and they said it's best to do it after like a week because those are not preservative free, and they really don't want the preservatives in your eyes for a while. I feel like I'm going to scare people away, but I just want to be honest. I want to have good expectations. And you know what? I have a feeling that if you watch these other videos, that you'll realize it's probably worth it. So make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit that bell notification so you do get notifications when I put out other videos. And I know this might have a little delay in coming out because you're not supposed to be like focusing and staring on a screen a ton while you're healing. This is why I have a few days off of work. So just bear with me, and I am grateful that I can share this journey with you guys and hopefully help inform you and entertain you maybe. I don't know. Are you not entertained? It has been a full day since surgery, and looking pretty good in this eye. There's a little bit of a kind of blood spot. This obviously gonna take a week or two. Had my follow-up appointment the one day, and then I think there's like I know I've got one for a week, and I think it's like a month, 6 months, and a year or something like that. But at today's appointment, just checked that there's nothing going bad. There's some inflammation, but not like corneal inflammation, which is really bad. So I'm just gonna keep up with my eye drops. I've been napping randomly, and yeah, it's going well. So I was 20/20 when we looked. I drove myself to and from the appointment, which was weird. That's the first time in my life I've driven without glasses or contacts, because I first got a prescription in the 7th grade. So It's pretty cool. Eyes are still really sensitive to the light. I don't have to wear these all the time now, though I am still while I'm sleeping, so I don't accidentally like scratch my eye or something. These work surprisingly well while sleeping. I thought that it would not go so well, but there's that. And then eye drops. Oh, you can see. You probably can't see. I don't want to get too close. With the eye drops, I'm using so many of them and they're getting on my eyelashes and they're crusting together. But I'm supposed to avoid getting water in my eyes. So I think shortly though I will have to, without like soap, just because I've been like using wet Q-tips to get the residue and use a face wipe. But yeah, we'll see. I'm working on it. I'll give you guys an update. Let me know how frequently you want an update. Do you want one at 1 week or just wait till like a month or something like that? But I'll for sure do at least a couple updates as I heal this next year. Sorry, I'm tired. I'm napping all the time, but yet I'm still tired. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Leave any questions down below. We'll see you.